Exactly. It's a partner instead of like an enemy. Somehow it really reminds me of the whole kind of Greek mythology of Eros and Psyche, about the soul, the Eros and Psyche, and the spirit should be kind of in a way union and together in the path. And that lead me to the question of Dr. Kujia, because of course in Taiwan I think we're at a very interesting cultural place where we have the traditional, very collectivist, even some even say that the traditional collective culture where there's the really inequality between so-called the man and woman, and there's a specific boxes that people should fit in, of course, being victims of patriarchy, for which are both so-called men and women are victims.
Absolutely.
And exposed to the Western kind of the new thoughts, and at that transitional period, and especially reclaiming, I would say there's a wave of kind of remembering or reclaiming so-called the Eros, the power of Eros. So maybe let's say if you have some words of wisdom or guidance for people, let's say, who are listening now, like feel get inspired or feel a bit of either intuitive connection with Mary Magdalene or an awakening to the inner Eros. Your guidance or wisdom you can share.
So first of all, I didn't cover this, but there are spontaneous awakening all over the place, all over the world, probably primarily in the West, to the wisdom of Mary Magdalene, and to this goddess that fully reclaims her wisdom, sexuality, and her independence. So people really tune in, so to speak, to this archetype or to this divinity, which seem to be coming out almost out of the ground, like the Gospel of Mary Magdalene or the Nag Hammadi 1945, these writings that were repressed and like you couldn't, it's a bad, they're heretics, right, are coming to the surface. So I think the divine feminine is coming to the surface. And I also want to stress that, and it includes Taiwan, that patriarchy was bad for both women and men, because patriarchy was sending young men to war. Right, and women could be just childbearers, and have a submissive role, and this is, I think, we have to, and it is a collective responsibility wherever we are, to create new paradigms, to create new archetypes, to negotiate these roles. So, for example, at the beginning of my book, The Other Goddess, I'm talking also about, different relationship traps, So one of them is a romantic trap, because, everybody loves the romance, right? But, romance is not sustainable. It is not supposed to be sustainable. It has to evolve into something, right? So what happens to a romance, it is that we are not fully human, we are not fully authentic, we always want to be beautiful, we always want to be sexy, we always want to be adored, and it's simply not possible. Right? We all have bad days, bad hair days, bad moods. So that's why romance is not sustainable, because we are just kind of showing each other, our best part. The other one is actually, and I hope I'm not insulting anyone, the marriage trap, because I'm not against marriage. I'm in a very happy relationship myself, but marriage trap is when people again come back to this kind of patriarchal thing, which means they assign roles to each other. Now you have to be a provider, so women are as guilty as men here, because now you have to work yourself to death to be a provider, and you have to be sexy and masculine and ravish me all the time, and you have to be a perfect mother, and you have to be always attractive and always desirable. And this is, again, nobody's like that, and it ends growth, personal growth. So I think we are in this beautiful, collectively, in this beautiful place right now, then we can look into the past also, what was good there, and create at the same time new archetypes. So we have to experiment. So I think it's actually very positive. Experiment. So for example, I have, even in my own relationship, I am the main breadwinner. Right? And my husband is taking care more of the domestic stuff, because, I don't have the time to do this. Lots of people are negotiating this kind of relationships, right? So what works, and also it's my personal belief, we should stay in a relationship as long as it also allows us growth. We should not just stay in a relationship for the sake of relationship, because then actually it's damaging also for children. It is my belief. So So for everybody. So we have to redefine this relationship between masculine and feminine. What does it mean to be in a relationship? So it's a very kind of evolutionary time for all of us, I think, right? So, and it's a collective thing. And also what I have learned, while living in communist Poland, it is that, which is kind of similar to what I'm saying here, that we have to have a fully evolved individual for the collective to be happy. You cannot just, collectively say you have to do this to make you happy. That doesn't exist. We have to evolve as an individual. So actually, we have to explore who we are to actually fully contribute to the collective. Because it is not only about me, but unless I fully love and accept myself, unless I'm a fulfilled human being, unless I'm a balanced human being, and not just, taking orders from above or wherever, having no idea who I am, only then I can freely contribute to my collective. And I also believe that we should be free to choose the collective we want to be part of. So, and I think this is what the goddess actually teaches us, that explore other avenues of thinking. Don't just follow the traditional way of thinking, which is very rational way, that things are set in stone. For the goddess consciousness, nothing is set in stone. You have to redefine certain things. It is a constant evolutionary path for all of us. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but it is a very complex question. And I think that actually we are collectively in this place, all of us. We have to reclaim this. We have to reclaim divine feminine, and whichever symbol of the divine feminine appeals to us. Mary Magdalene is resurfacing as this powerful, feminine, erotic, and wise feminine, which it's, I think, very attractive for me personally, and lots of people are tuning in to this, but it also encourages us to redefine ourselves individually and as a society.
Exactly. Well, a lot of gems in what you just said, Dr. Kuja, about being creative, being playful, being curious, starting from oneself, because that's where we start, so we can contribute collectively. And at times, perhaps taking that creative risk as well. And then draw from the wisdom of the goddess that gives us those energy and give us those direction, whatever the goddess mean from different tradition. And then especially Mary Magdalene and what you wrote in your book is a very good kind of portrait of how that looks like.
And she was a little bit of a rebel as well, not in a kind of teenage rebel, but when she's constantly told, this is not your place, they want to put her back into the patriarchal system, right? And she just doesn't allow anybody to do this. She's just too smart, too wise, and too fully human, so to speak, in full acceptance of herself, to allow herself to be categorized, labeled, because very often we label other people, but we also label ourselves, So she stands there as this example for us, to learn from.
Exactly. A powerful, I would say, a catalyst, perhaps even of human evolution.
Absolutely, and a catalyst for human evolution, not only with respect to eros, but also consciousness, right? Because our eros is also part of our consciousness. So on a deeper philosophical level, eros cannot be separate from spirituality, because both are part of our consciousness. And the consciousness, or divine consciousness, chooses to express itself, herself, himself, in any way it chooses. Right? And eros is also a very beautiful way of expressing itself, and can take us back again back to the spirit. So it's this wonderful journey. And I personally experience this, so I know that it is possible when people, around the world have Kundalini awakening, have a awakening through eros and through other means, which were previously just put into, to the shadows.